everyone, and welcome back to my channel, where everything you're about to hear and see has been done in one take. I am your host, the One Take Man. Today's video concludes Daft Punk month, or the first of perhaps many Daft Punk months, with a look at the duo's fourth and final studio album, Random Access Memories. Released in May of 2013, it was recorded over the previous 5 years in several studios within 3 different cities spanning 2 continents. It also has the largest number of, collaborators working both in the backstage and the onstage areas of the album. It therefore offers a quite different listening experience compared to the deliberately meant to be minimalistic and unpolished previous album of theirs, or really any album of theirs, if I am to be completely honest. Going through this album track by track, you'll notice that a lot of pretty much all of these tracks have a very individualized, very particular, I would almost say directly catered to production and maybe even recording settings that are deliberately meant to get as much, not just out of the tracks, but also out of the people that Daft Punk collaborates with, and that allows pretty much all of their tracks to reach the fullest extent of their thematic breadth and weight, and they very much use all of their all of that extent. Let's see, 13 tracks long, if I'm not mistaken. This album actually is their longest, at around 75 minutes. So yeah, you can imagine they took their time, and I'm actually very grateful for that, because every track sounds amazing. Like every track is in some way memorable and has something that will definitely attract a listener. Some more than others, but that's beside the point. What's more interesting is that even though all of these tracks have quite particular, I'll say, creation stories and creation details, they don't really come across as cordoned off from each other. Nor can I say that one of them is discordant to any other, that any one of them is discordant to any other track off this album, because this album really isn't a tapestry where a whole bunch of elements come together in order to create a broader picture, and all of those elements have to fit together in order to make that picture work. Rather, it's a mosaic, where not only does every single part of it look quite well on its own, but when put together, the end result is freaking spectacular. Of the 13 tracks of this album, 5 were released as singles. The first 2 are the ones that you are most likely to know about. They are the Pharrell collaborations, Get Lucky and Lose Yourself to Dance, respectively. There isn't really much I can say about them. Pharrell was in his top form at the time when he was recording them, and Daft Punk's production and performances mesh quite well with his more confident, more mature, fun-seeking affectations. Overall, however, they are merely an appetizer for what this album actually has to offer. A better impression of what this album is actually like is given by the last 2 singles that were spun off from it: Instant Crush and Give Life Back to Music. Instant Crush shows Julian Casablancas, formerly the lead singer of The Strokes, put in the performance of a lifetime in a deceptively complex and haunting song about the complexities of perception and memory when tied into the desire for romance and companionship. It has a very warm and nostalgic soundscape, meant to be reminiscent of the potential listener's first love, but also tinged with the regret of that relationship's eventual demise. Give Life Back to Music, the final single off the album and ironically its first track, is not just a cool and engaging listening experience all on its own. It also serves as a mission statement. The reason Daft Punk wanted to have as many collaborators as they did on this album is because they really wanted to, in a sense, go back to the roots of music and really explore how to best emphasize music as an artistic mode of expression for shared experiences. And this track is one of the best demonstrators I can think of when it comes to exploring that particular theme. Of the deep cuts, my favorite of them, and also my favorite track off the album, and one of my favorites of their entire studio discography, is Giorgio by Moroder. The song itself is very, richly orchestrated and lushly arranged, and it features a spoken voiceover by the titular Giovanni Giorgio Moroder, the father of disco and a pioneer of European electro dance music since the 70s, as he is explaining his earliest observations and inspirations as he was starting out within music. It is a very fitting tribute to an industry legend, and it also manages something absolutely amazing with how it grabs the listeners and brings them through a very rich and very engaging soundscape in and of itself. This song is 9 minutes long, but it could easily go for 90. There is just so much here, and all of it is very inviting, very just engaging. It really invites you to immerse yourself in it. If there is such a thing as progressive disco, I imagine it sounds exactly like this, and it is astounding. Other deep cuts of note from this album include The Game of Love, Within, Motherboard, and the album closer, Contact. All of which also have these rich and lush soundscapes where the listener can just immerse themselves in. It's probably not as perhaps not as well done as Giorgio by Moroder, but still they are very interesting and very captivating to listen to. Overall, this album does pretty much a lot of things that a great album should do. It is without any kind of exaggeration, Daft Punk's masterpiece. And even though it wasn't intended to fulfill this role, it still comes across as a very fitting swan song for the duo. My final rating for Random Access Memories is a 5 out of 5. And yeah, that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, then please leave a like, maybe even share this album wherever you think other people will like it as well. If you have anything you'd like to add, either to the review or the album itself, well, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. Ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. I also have a main channel where I talk about more book-related and literature topics, a link to which you will find in the description down below. Right past all of my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to do so. Until next time, I have been the One Take Man.